Hey everybody, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Folks, let's kick it off by talking about the price of Bitcoin because on the daily chart, we are in the extreme oversold based on the RSI. It's hitting levels that we saw earlier this year with the tariff news sell-off. So that's a very good sign. The bottom is near, and we know markets are cyclical. Right now, people may not want to hear that. A lot of people are getting emotional, right? But remember, check your emotions at the door because if you're investing with your emotions, you're going to get wrecked. So if we just simply look at the data and go by the textbook of how markets work, we are due for a reversal. Now, does that mean we're going to see a straight shot up, to all-time highs? Of course not, right? It's going to be stair-stepping our way out, higher highs and higher lows. The same thing I was telling you all back in the beginning of 2025 with the tariff news sell-off. I remember people were saying, that's it, it's over. Trump crashed the market, yada, yada. And I was telling you guys, no, wait a minute. The structure is still intact here. We're going to see some sort of reversal. Now, I do want to make sure I caveat my statements by saying, I don't know if the reversal is simply a relief rally that will just be like a retrace and then we roll over to lower lows. Because some people are saying this is the top of the market. I personally don't believe it is, but that's a possibility. We can't rule it out. Or we stair step our way out and start hitting new highs as we head into 2026. So, as I've been talking about, this market is extending into 2026. So the market right now is in extreme fear. So you got the RSI in the oversold, extremely oversold, and you got the sentiment in the dumps. All of these things are conducive to a reversal. Again, this is textbook. This is not emotions. This is not any bias or anything. Just that this is what the market does. Go look at the stock market, go study the charts yourself. You will see these things. Now, Julian Battelle, who works with macro investor Raoul Pal, also shared a chart showing Bitcoin's RSI from a 14-day perspective, and it's also extremely oversold. So multiple models and data points are showing that a reversal is coming. Again, though, the bearish scenario is that it's just a relief rally, a retrace, and then it continues to go down because the bears believe the market top is in. The bullish case is just this is a local top and we will work our way up to higher highs. Now, from the Bitcoin yearly standpoint, so this is very much the macro view. What we've seen historically is 3 years of green candles followed by one red candle year. So that's usually the bear market year where everything goes down, right? So we saw this in 2018 and of course 2022. And we've had two green candle years coming out of 2022, but this year, right now, we're in the negative. Now, the year's not over, obviously, but right now it's not looking good. So let's see if the market can rally into the end of the year and continue into January. I don't know, but this certainly changes things. It's a big deviation from how the cyclical pattern has played out. Now, I don't know if this is going to be the case moving forward because the market moves with liquidity. And this year, because of the tariff situation, the government's shutdown, which was extended, has slowed down the liquidity and disrupted the timeline. I've been on record saying that since the tariff crash earlier this year, that this market timeline is going to get pushed back and that, we could see a blow off top come Q1 of 2026 or even Q2. Again, I don't have a crystal ball, but I'm just going based off the data. So this is a big deviation. And here, Hunter Horsley of Bitwise Asset Management, he talked a bit about this. He says, here is what I see happening on 4-year cycles. The common view, people believe in 4-year cycles and that 2026 will thus be a down year for Bitcoin. First order effect, people thus sell in 2025 to avoid a down market year. Second order effect, the 2025 sellers caused 2025 to be a down year, thus breaking the 4-year cycles. Third order of effect, 2026 is open season, 4-year cycles broken. He's essentially saying this has become a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? People are thinking, well, that's it. It must be over because it's 4 years. But again, it's all following liquidity. It's not following the halving. So if the liquidity cycle itself is getting disrupted, then the asset cycle is going to get disrupted. And it's not just crypto that's correcting right now, guys. If you look at the stock market, it is also the S&P 500 is down. It is also approaching the oversold zone. So is the Nasdaq. So it's not like crypto by itself is done. We're just seeing all these things happening here with these other markets. Now, another factor that is signaling a potential reversal is Jim Cramer is on a tear, saying bearish things. He's bearish on Bitcoin. He's saying, let the sellers sell. The Fed shouldn't step in. He's saying all kinds of things. He's tweeting about it. He's going on TV saying about it. So there's a lot of clips, going around. I'm not going to play everything here, but he is bearish. Now, the other factor, which I'm sure many of you saw, Japan, because of the Japanese yen carry trade situation, which we've been talking about, is deja vu. We saw this in August 2024. Well, they've approved a economic stimulus of 21.3 trillion yen. So this is quantitative easing. So that equates to $135.5 billion stimulus package. So that liquidity is going to make its way into markets. The big question a lot of people have, though, is what is the Fed going to do? Is the Fed going to follow suit? And it could be this situation, it continues to compound and it gets worse and then something breaks. The Fed always waits for something to break before they go do something like this. But we know quantitative tightening is ending December 1st. The rate cuts percentages or the chances of a rate cut have increased due to some of the things that have been happening like this in Japan and much more. And even here, Lawrence Leopard highlighted what Fed Williams signaling that the December rate cut, is most likely. And he says, well, a little trouble in Japan, and they send out a dove to calm everyone down. CME rate cuts odds go up from 40% to 74%. These guys are so transparent and obviously in way over their heads. Good luck, Fed. You are going to need it. So something might break, guys. And of course, the point is, the only solution they have is to print money. That is not going to stop. Even though it may take a while, there's some political back and forth and so forth. They have to go back to this. This is the debt-based system. This is their MO. So I'm anticipating further rate cuts, and we could see some sort of pseudo or stealth QE or full-on QE. I don't know, but it's coming. They can't bypass this. And if something breaks, it's going to be a full-on money printer there. And look, we are in a tough situation. I do believe we're in some sort of recession. You look at the massive layoffs that are happening, right? Companies don't just start laying off people like that. Some of these big companies and so forth, especially those who have big cash balance sheets, they're just laying people off. It's pretty tough out there. And then you got some level of inflation still hanging around, and the mortgage industry, the real estate industry not really doing much. So something's going to break at some point, and we're going to see the Fed step in. So that's my thoughts, guys. I don't believe the bull market's over. I think there's a lot of macro factors like this, like what Japan's doing, full-on QE, and the Fed here in the United States will return to that. You got the crypto market structure bill still in play, and just a lot of different companies looking to do IPOs and much more. So I think people are still anticipating there's a final push here, and we could see that blow off top come in Q1 2026. Now, folks, this episode is brought to you by Trezor. Trezor makes beautiful hardware wallets that make it easy for you to safely store your crypto assets. I'm a big believer in self-custody. Folks, Trezor, they started hardware wallets back in 2013. They created a seed phrase setup, and they have released a new device called the Trezor Safe 7. It's actually now available to order and ship directly. Before it was in pre-order, but it's available now. And I'm a user of the Trezor Safe 5 and the Trezor Safe 7. And folks, they support all the major tokens. I'm talking Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, Cardano, and much more, even new tokens like BlackRock's BUIDL. They also have a hand-holding service that you can use to talk to a Trezor rep who can help you set up your device. And don't worry, they don't ask you for your private keys. And folks, they have a Black Friday sale going on that you can check out, where you can get big discounts on certain devices. So if you want to grab a device, now's the time to do it and get some discounts and save some money here. So check out their Black Friday sale. And once again, I'm a user of the devices, so I believe in this company. So if you'd like to learn more, visit the link in the description. Now, folks, look at this. Coinbase has made another acquisition. So they said here, we're doubling down on Solana. So Coinbase is acquiring Vector, an on-chain trading platform built on Solana, whose tech will plug directly into Coinbase to help better serve one of crypto's most active ecosystems. And here, Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase, said earlier this year, I said, we level up our Solana game. Since then, we've brought AgentKit and X402 to Solana and made upgrades to our infrastructure to scale services, 5x improvement in block processing throughput, 4x improvement RPC performance. Now we're bringing Sol native tech and talent to plug into our platform and level up support for Solana trading at Coinbase. So, big acquisition by Coinbase here. Now, we've been talking a lot about the XRP ETFs and different ETFs that are being launched. And here, Eric Balchunas of Bloomberg confirmed that Grayscale's Dogecoin ETF is approved for listing on New York Stock Exchange, scheduled to begin trading Monday. Also, their XRP spot ETF is also launching on Monday. So we are seeing, these ETFs are starting to go live by many of the big players. He also says here, G-Link, I think that's Chainlink, is coming soon as well. So pretty incredible, guys, that these on-ramps are being built for these assets. I know right now, many of you are like, man, this market sucks. Look at the volatility. But, guys, it's all cyclical. So if you are able to look from the macro, and I always tell you guys, when in doubt, zoom out, go to TradingView, zoom out on a chart, and you'll see, all these pullbacks and dumps and corrections, they end up being blips, small blips on the chart, right? We keep going up because assets are driven by liquidity. The liquidity comes from the debasement of currency, the printing of fiat globally. So this is where, once you understand that fundamental thesis, you're not panicking on every move and things like that. Yes, we all want to make money. Guys, I wish this situation wasn't happening. I wish we were hitting new all-time highs and I'm cashing out my portfolio. But I also have to go with the market, right? This is the nature of markets. So you have to instill in yourself in the foundational knowledge, right? Go beyond the emotions and understand what is driving markets. And yes, we look at the macro, we look at the charts, we look at on-chain data. We just don't look at one of those things. We have to look at all of them. So that's why, even though the chart is bloody right now, the macro is screaming to me, wait a minute, look at what's coming, right? Look at what Japan's doing. Look at what the Fed is getting ready to do, and much more. So that is how I'm looking at the market. Now, look at this. Bitmine, which is headed up by Tom Lee. It is an Ethereum treasury company. They have announced a 2026 ETH staking plan as the market melts down. Well, yeah, the market is melting now, but this is one of the things I've talked about with these digital asset treasury companies. Those that have proof of stake and can earn yield are going to be able to survive the market downturns and bear markets because they still have the revenue coming in. And Bitmine, I believe they are the largest Ethereum holder. And it's pretty rough out there. Tom Lee's taking a beating. People are trolling him on social media and so forth. But, these guys have a macro view. And, one of the things I will be talking about as we enter a bear market is how do you continue to earn, despite there not being the price actions. And I'll talk about staking and different types of DeFi things that I use during the bear market, right? To continue to earn those passive rewards. So I think you're going to see the Solana and Ethereum treasury companies do this to survive, and we'll see how many of them survive because, it's pretty tricky because some of these guys raise debt. It's one thing to take some of your cash on your balance sheet and do this because then you're not, tied to debt. You're just simply taking the cash you already have. But some of these guys are raising billions and then they're going to buy the assets, and when those assets go down and you're not getting the same arbitrage or volatility on the stock price because the stock market's down too, it puts them in a bad spot. So I don't want them to fail, but we'll see what happens, guys. This is why we want to continue to look at the data, monitor everything, and make the right decisions here. All right, folks, that's the news. Let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button. Folks, a great way you can support the podcast is by subscribing to my free email newsletter. It is 100% free. Link will be in the description. Check out my book on Amazon. It's available in paperback and digital, and my course at mycryptocourse.com. This is a comprehensive course that teaches you everything you need to know about crypto. So, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.